we're in overtime. Oh, gee, baby. So I just read a tweet from one of the senior correspondents at the D.C. Examiner, and he said everybody who arrived early in Cleveland is now going to Indiana because of what's happening. So as we come to air right after the TV version of us wrapped up, something's going to happen with Donald Trump and his VP pick. Oh, yeah. We don't know exactly when, but something's going to happen. He talked to Bret Baier. Bret Baier just put out a little tidbit. He said, you know, just to share with people that in his head, Donald Trump said he had it down to 2 people.
Ooh. I'm sure he's picked already.
Pence and Gingrich?
Yeah, I'm sure they've picked already. I mean, I've just been in background.
Well, on O'Reilly, he said, I have someone special.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
they got to tease it. The vetting's done by now. They're probably getting the T-shirts and hats and posters ready. I just read a tweet that says this all ends with Newt riding into the convention on an elephant. I certainly hope so. I would personally love that.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I love a pachyderm.
PETA would get so mad. Can you imagine? I think PETA would be all up in arms.
They're crazy.
They're not going to hurt the pachyderm.
I wonder why he's bringing all these other people to Indiana. Why Indiana if it's not Pence?
So Jeff Sessions, we heard during the TV version of us, was on his way to Indiana, and we know that his name had been floated very early on, but we were cautioned among our producers and watchers of this whole thing here at Fox that he's been a sounding board in the past and could very well be playing that role right now if in fact...
So Sessions coming as an advisor?
Yeah, I mean, just, hey, dude, you know, I made my decision, what do you think, sort of thing. I mean, you want to have that conversation in person, I think. You want to have everybody in the room, right?
I don't know. I don't know what I know, but I just know that...
You don't know what you know?
I know that Governor Pence is a nice guy, but I thought he was in a hard re-election fight in his own state.
Yeah, he is.
So he's not going to help even in Indiana, or much, I would expect. What does he do other than give credibility as a politician to a non-politician?
It's also boring, and if we know nothing about Donald Trump, he's a showman.
But doesn't he need a touch of boring? I mean, as you say that, I don't think Pence is a good choice
I don't think anybody needs a touch of boring.
Well, I think he can't.
If you're a wild man,
just in life in general,
he can't resist coming out there and having a big, exciting pick, which is why Christie and Newt, I think, are more likely. Even though Mary Fallon is someone that people haven't really been talking about as much.
Yeah. What about Joni Ernst? Wasn't she the?
She said no.
She
said no. Yeah.
So you know, I mean, look at what's going on in our country right now. You know, you've had race relations terrible. You've had what's gone on in Louisiana and Minnesota. You have reports today that President Obama has called the mother of Philando Castile. He brought up BLM at a memorial service for 5 police officers. I mean, clearly there's some things that we need to talk about and get straight. Wow. So who then best steps into that fold? Who's been talking about that among all of the potential candidates? Newt Gingrich. I mean, he stepped right into it and said, you know, this is what I agree. With credibility. Yeah. This is how I see it. This is what... It's interesting to consider that.
Also, this is a total geeky Politico perspective, but it will appeal to a certain demographic of people. I really like the idea of Callista Gingrich being the vice presidential's wife. Melania Trump is such an untraditional... Because Melania Trump is such an untraditional first lady. I like the idea of having a very traditional Republican woman who's very conservative up on stage with them. And again, optics are really going to matter.
See, that's where your background is so valuable.
Thank you,
because I never even would have thought of that. But of course, you're right. I mean, it just is obvious.
She will soften Melania in a lot of ways.
Perfect. That's
interesting.
Who would be your dream person if everybody would say yes and wouldn't?
John Kasich.
And I say that John Kasich. For me, Condoleezza Rice. You know, like somebody who would add it. I mean, she would, but somebody who's steady, smart. You know, understands world affairs,
she's got a lot of
politics. Somebody with a military background.
Somebody with a military background.
General McChrystal, General Petraeus.
Yeah.
I wanted like a hardcore military person, but it looks like it's not going to happen.
I would have loved Kasich just because Kasich has been around. We know him. You know, we were office mates for 3 years there.
He would have softened the fires, I think, for a lot of voters.
And he would have been great in Ohio. They love him in Ohio, unlike Pence in Indiana.
Yeah.
But I just want to say very briefly to what you said about you need boring to go with crazy. The thing about Chris Christie, assuming the Bridgegate thing goes away, and let's assume that he's not the unindicted co-conspirator, which I don't think he is. He's got a sharpness about him as a former prosecutor. Law and Order, you talk about Law and Order, and I do think that once he gets over this ditch that he's been in, I think that he could do a lot of exciting things in the Northeast for Donald Trump. And no one can out-debate Chris Christie.
Yep.
Nobody.
It's true. Two things against him, though. One is I don't think people are over the hug. I mean, people still remember the hug from last time and feel like he torpedoed Mitt Romney.
You don't
I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying it's out there. The other thing is I didn't recently. I also think that him in the background. All this time when Trump's been out there, and he looks like almost his security guard or something. Like, it hasn't been.
He's getting better lately, I think. He's not staring adoringly.
That
bugs me.
From Game of Thrones, as he's
anyway,
went online.
Just saying. I mean, I was a very big fan early on. I felt let down by him, so maybe that's.
Well, Bridgegate did it. That deflated him. I remember when he accepted the the second term when he won re-election. He scheduled it at Ellis Island with Statue of Liberty in the background. Bridgegate broke in the meantime, so he went there and nobody showed up, and it was so embarrassing. But if Bridgegate never happened, it would have been Chris Christie, maybe as presidential, certainly as the VP.
Stacey met us on Facebook Live. Just popped up on my tablet.
I love
it. She says, I hope Senator Sessions plays a vital role.
Like what?
Yeah.
She wasn't specific, but, I think out of all the things, we don't know what we don't know. Right? So if he is there as a sounding board or whatever he might do, what else would he do?
Could be in the cabinet, be an advisor. There's many possibilities.
I think the South is locked up for Donald Trump. He doesn't need Jeff Sessions. I don't think he needs any Southerner. I think that his performance down there, assuming Cruz isn't an active saboteur, I think Trump will sweep the South.
I'm telling you, the family is going to be a lot more important after the convention, a lot more. I know people really like Ivanka and his sons, but Melania has to come out there. She has to make a speech. She has to look like our first lady. She has not done that so far. It's going to be vitally important that she does this coming up.
Wow.
What does our first lady look like, though? What does that look like? What does that look like?
You and I are asking the same question.
It's not that she doesn't look like. It's not that she doesn't look like. It's that she's not. I need to know what she's going to do as first lady, what her platforms are going to be, how she's going to help America.
You don't want to give her time to find that out? I think
the convention's a great time to make a speech.
Or any of them necessarily had it all together.
I also think you would be a great advisor to her. Your mom could really give her some
I would be happy to, and my mother would be happy to. I would like to see her make a traditional first lady speech just about why I don't know a lot about their story, why she fell in love with him, why she supports him, why she thinks he would make a great president, and she's going to have a role as our first lady one way or another, and what she would plan on doing there.
Lee 0713, Meghan is right. Politics have broken my heart since I could vote for the first time. Then it was broken further when I got a political science degree. People are elected not because they have an idea to fix things, but because they are in a popularity contest.
Well, that's unfortunately true.
True. You got anything? What do you got?
Well, a lot of people are voicing their opinions on the vice presidential pick, so I hear a lot of new on here on both Facebook and our Outnumbered Overtime on the web, but a lot of people talking about the Ginsburg story as well and her speaking out against Trump. People are pretty passionate about that.
Pretty annoyed.
Yeah,
but how can you not be? It's like the Clinton meeting with Loretta Lynch. Some things there is no other side of the story. She shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it. I mean, that's it. Case closed. You say it. Just scold them. My final thoughts about the vice presidential choice. I think that I would be counterintuitive. Here you have Trump talking about a wall and the in the platform, and Reince Priebus backing him up. I would go the other way. When I was contemplating running for Senate as a Republican from New Jersey, I said, I'm running this as a Democrat. I'm going to be in every Puerto Rican neighborhood. I'm going to be in every black neighborhood. I'm going to campaign as a Democrat. Even though I'm a Republican, I'm going to assume that those Republicans are going to go my way anyway. And I think Trump has to do that also. He has to assume he's got the Republican base, that they're very enthused. Well, he should campaign. He should be the Black Lives Matter guy. He should be, a meeting with Juan and Pablo, and you came and your immigrant success story and you did it the right way. That's why we're not saying to those of you who come undocumented that you're unhuman. We're just saying you should do it the right way, like Juan and With
all due respect, Raul, he won't even speak at the NAACP convention, so I don't.
Which is what's that about?
I don't know. I don't know.
How can you not speak at the NAACP convention?
I agree. I think it's.
Don't speak at Black Lives Matter. That's one thing, but NAACP.
So, question for you. I mean, maybe you would see more of what you're talking about had the Republican Party and its establishment backed him early on. I mean, this was a man who led in the polls as number one for a year before you heard some of the leadership and the GOP say we might be able to get on board.
But the thing that has always comforted me is knowing him as long as I have. I know the guy. He's not a racist. He's not a xenophobe. He's a New Yorker in every good sense.
Well, courting Black Lives Matter is not going to prove that he's not a racist. I mean,
not courting, but I mean, Geraldo, that's a very interesting idea because he's been outside the box and everything so far, and he hasn't followed the rules at all. So how surprising would it be if he took that meeting and they had some sort of honest conversation? I mean, you don't know what would happen. That's what makes it so interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, he's like just exploded every preconceived notion all the way through. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You guys have all said such interesting things this hour. I have learned things from all of you.
Yeah, and you know,
stealing them from my other shows.
By the way, Marie Specht has written on our online version. She says Geraldo's right about Ginsburg. Once in a while, I do agree with him.
I agree with Geraldo a lot.
There are a lot of things about your mustache.
Being in the middle is sometimes the way. What do they say? You're in the political middle. You're roadkill. I get it from both sides.
No, never. Hey, great to have you today.
Thank you, Geraldo.
Wrap it up. And scoot on out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.